And joining me to discuss it is Democratic Unionist MP Ian Paisley. Ian, welcome.
Thank you, Andre. Good to be here.
So, what is this deal and why is Northern Ireland so upset?
Well, I believe in equal citizenship. I believe that as a citizen of the United Kingdom, whether I live in a Huckle or whether I live in Aberdeen or whether I live in Anglesey or whether I live in Aylington, I'm entitled to the same rights as every single person in the United Kingdom. There's not a special arrangement for Northern Ireland or a different arrangement to pacify the people who left the kingdom 100 years ago, but it's our arrangement for all of us. And unfortunately, Mr Johnson's deal creates a difference for Northern Ireland, a difference that will probably impact great on my children's lives and my children's children's lives. It will set up a separate VAT regime for Northern Ireland. It will change the arrangements for how goods transfer between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. Now, very simply put, we do billions of trade between Northern Ireland and the rest of the United Kingdom. However, that's no longer going to be free for traders in Northern Ireland. They're going to have to fill in forms and not only sign documents but probably pay money and have different VAT arrangements on that trade. Yet that's our single largest market, and Boris Johnson's deal threatens that. So what we're saying, use your power. This man now has an unassailable majority in the House of Commons, a few tweaks with his withdrawal bill, and you've got us on side and you've got the whole of the kingdom out as one.
Do you feel let down?
Yes, we are let down. Of that, there's no doubt. We believe that we've been loyal and faithful and true friends to this kingdom. We believe we have demonstrated fidelity to the kingdom. It's very unfortunate that that fidelity has not been returned to us honourably. And I think that whenever it was difficult for the last government to reign, we brought them home. We got them over the line. We gave the country those years for the Tory government to reign. And yet what do? At the first opportunity they say, well, Northern Ireland can have a different arrangement. We don't want a different arrangement. If it's a bad deal, we'll take a bad deal. But all of us take a bad deal. If it's a great deal, as I believe it can be, we'll all share the great deal.
And how easy is it going to be to make that change now? Because I fully understand what happened in the previous parliament with losing the majority, and obviously it became very difficult to get anything through. But now the world's different. How can we change the deal to make it better?
Well, Boris Johnson just now has to say, and it is so, he has got a massive majority. Europe knows that. And Europe, I think, will be thankful to him if he does nothing and just goes to the deal that he's already agreed. They'll say, oh, that was easy. Why should he make it easy for the Europeans? When did they last make it easy for us? They don't believe in making it easy for us. In fact, they have treated us like dirt, and yet we have paid for the European Union with our taxpayers' money. And I think it's important that Boris Johnson says, pay back, and I'm paying you back. There's the changes I need for all of my kingdom.
What you are effectively laying out to English, Scottish and Welsh people is the idea that a no deal, potential no deal, is better than the breakup of the United Kingdom. Can you justify that?
I'm a unionist first. Now, I've asked the question of Boris, are you a unionist? I think Boris is a loyal Englishman, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's faithful and shows fidelity to England. I hope he's not an English nationalist, because our identity, both as English people, as Irish people, as Northern Irish people, as Scottish people, Welsh people, is far greater than just the individual part of the nation that we belong to. The unity of our kingdom, the identity of our nation, the history, the religion, the culture, everything is bound up in the fact that we are a wonderful mix of cultures, clashes and creeds. And I think that Boris Johnson should remember that and not go for the easy deal. Sometimes difficult decisions have to be made, and he can take a difficult decision that will benefit us all. And he talked today in Parliament. I had a great time with him in Parliament today, and he talked about a golden age for the United Kingdom. And in the Queen's speech, it was wonderful to hear Her Majesty say that all of the union matters and it must be treated the same. I say hear to that, but put action under those words.
And do you feel sometimes that you are the poor relation, that people forget about you, that your history and your culture is traduced and sometimes mocked?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, there's, because of the 40 years of Troubles and how black a mess that became, people get confused and concerned that if they raise something to do with Northern Ireland, because they maybe don't know all the facts, they could maybe look foolish, or they will show up that they don't fully understand. The Irish problem is not a difficult or complex solution. We are British, as of right. We deserve the same integrity and support as you, an Englishman, is entitled to. It doesn't come any simpler than that. And if Irish people from the south of Ireland are trying to use sophisticated arguments to undermine that and throw in articles about this and agreements about that, just remember that they left the kingdom it ain't theirs to talk about. It's our kingdom.
This is one thing that upsets me. I'm a dual national, British and the Irish Republic. I don't claim the passport. I always think that if you voted Brexit, claiming an EU passport would be a bit
Sacrilege.
silly. But one of the things that upsets me is the behaviour of the Taoiseach towards Britain and Northern Ireland. I feel like you've been bullied by him, because the minute he uses the power of Brussels, he immediately used it against the Northern Irish. Is that an unfair view of mine?
No, I think it's perfectly fair. I think that it's very easy when an Irish Taoiseach is heading into an election, which is a challenging election for him. There's the old tactic of let's raise the fourth green field. Let's raise Northern Ireland.
Yes.
And from the Republic of Ireland's perspective, that is very emotive and it will garner him support. That's what he hopes. The fact of the matter is, if I was a person in business in the Republic of Ireland, I would now be saying to Leo Varadkar, where's our trade deal with the United Kingdom? The United Kingdom's one of our largest trading partners. About 33% of our trade is done with them. If we don't have a trade deal on the 1st of January or the 1st of February next year, we lose about £9 billion.
But
They've got to fix that.
Ian, did he not overplay his hand?
He did.
Because one of the things that shocks me was I fully understand the way he wants to use the leverage that he's got, in the same way that we as the United Kingdom will use the leverage that we've got. But it just seems to me like he just went too far with all of this and has risked the Irish economy. Because, hey, the biggest problem for him is not Northern Ireland. It's not unity of Ireland, because that's not going to happen. It's actually his economy. And that's such a huge risk.
Well, he'll probably lose about 5% of their GDP if they get a bad Brexit deal, and at the moment that's where he's heading. That's billions of pounds worth. Now, this is an economy that less than 10 years ago had to borrow money from the country they broke away from 90 or 100 years ago. What does that say about the notion of an independent Irish state? It makes it really foolish, and I believe if the Republic of Ireland were to play its cards right, they could have had the best of both worlds, but unfortunately overplayed their hand, probably helped by the fact that France was in a very weak position and Germany was entering into an economic downturn. Those things elevated the position of the Irish, but the Republic of Ireland is worth less than 2% of the entire EU. The EU have got to ask themselves, why are they supporting something which a nation that is really set to undermine an agreement and a free trade arrangement that they could have with the UK, a huge trading partner? And
talking of people over the Irish Sea, you walk around every day and you meet people. You're a pretty high profile figure, both in this country, but more so in the province of Northern Ireland. What are people saying to you about this deal and about the risk of Brexit in Northern Ireland?
Well, the big thing that they fear is that it would have like a border down the Irish Sea, that there will be a separation between our two nations when it's not necessary, and that somehow, instead of our trajectory being with Britain and the rest of the world and the excitement that that causes for trade and opportunity, that somehow we'll be turning and having to scrape and bow to the EU, where we would have no representation, or indeed to the Irish Republic that really doesn't care about Northern Ireland. It cares about making a political point to England, and that's the thing that annoys people the most, and they want that fixed.
Now, you've lost a couple of MPs at the general election. I feel a little bit sorry for you, because it was all a bit of a freak and an accident, but you now have to go out and fight for Northern Ireland, for unionism. I find it depressing as a Conservative that you're left to do that without the English Conservatives necessarily supporting. But what do the next few weeks hold for you in terms of that campaign?
Well, first of all, a lot of English Conservatives are very, very supportive of Northern Ireland. I mean, a lot of these people, remember, have constituents who were soldiers in Northern Ireland, and they knew who the good guys were. Their families knew who looked after them and the ones who hated them. And they, I think, understand that Northern Ireland, yes, is a peculiar place, but that unionism is supportive and is truly British and has that British outlook. So our idea is just to continue that relationship, that good relationship with Conservatives, and indeed with Labour members who are the same way inclined, and make sure that people understand our case and say, they're not actually asking for that much. And isn't it far better having everyone on board instead of having people jettisoned at this point?
Ian Paisley, thank you so much.